hours. It is 6 sharp. And now we will introduce UC&CS manuals, internal control, then auditing. This is going to be given by Reynaldo León Nava Jimenez, Chairman of the Internal Control Committee, public accountant, graduated from the National Autonomous University in Mexico, and also chairman of Social and Political Sciences School and professor of the School of Accounting and Administration with different subjects, in addition to the wide experience in several companies that will be accompanied by certified Liliana Medina Armendaris, who is a member of the Internal Control Committee, and this Sergio Penina, okay, good afternoon. There was an open microphone. Good afternoon. I'm going to share this presentation with Liliana Medina. In addition to that, I want to thank all the participants of the committee. Finally, we have managed to integrate a complete internal control manual. And now we are going to share this. In addition, Liliana Medina will present additional aspects to questionnaires and some other topics that will ease up work for auditors in the field. So we're going to share this with you. Hold on a second. There's a technical issue. The material is being shown, but it is not on page number 1. Probably you can switch it to page number 1. Do you want me to show the presentation? I do have it. Is it there right now? Yes. Thank you. Can you show full screen, please? All right. Internal Control Manual, Public accounting through times has designed technical tools allowing the accountant in his professional practice to back up conclusions and opinion in commitments, especially those related to auditing, financial statements reviews, other commitments, and related services. The firm will see changes or notices of regulating entities at national and international level. Technological advances, international treaties, to notify them and communicate them with trainings, seminars, to satisfy customers' demands. Goal: provide public accountants a technical tool to strengthen and ease up rendering professional services for auditing, financial statement inspections, other witnessing commitments, and related services. Public interest and contribute to the development of our customers, public companies, and physical companies or individuals for professional services. Contents. You can see some backgrounds of the manual, knowing the user about the services, audit planning, risk assessment, internal control by means of questionnaires, descriptive internal control guidelines, recommendations, and questionnaire for the audit of the Social Security Institute. Introduction. Contents of this manual are reviewed and updated every year, allowing that the tool is updated, incorporating the legal framework, systems, and technological aspects that would facilitate internal control. The focus of this questionnaire is mainly targeted to determine strengths and weaknesses of administrative, operating, and financial aspects, compliance with legal regulation obligations, national and international. If this was medicine, it would be like preventive medicine, allowing the company to safeguard all assets. It also was necessary to include definition and internal control structure elements, including these elements: internal control environment, risk assessment, information and communication system, surveillance, control procedures, and the format of these considerations, that is, the questions considered in the questionnaire, include the header and 6 columns. The first column identifies with a Roman number each section. The first column identifies each section of the questionnaire, and each question has a number in a consecutive manner. The second column has the section name, general aspect, and description of each question. The third and fourth column identify the answer, yes or no, of the applicable person. Column number 5, observations, will contain additional data to clarify answers whenever necessary and to explain reasoning. Options will include references to the work program. Audit program, column 6. Additionally, column 6 contains recommendations, and this is linked in the questionnaires and the recommendations. 2 is and locate anything which is needed for the review. Additionally, on the second column of the form, it includes legal references and professional references backing up each consideration. And the last column includes recommendations to the auditor. This manual contains files related to background, planning, professional opinion models to back up audits, also those of Infonavit and Social Security. The housing fund is Infonavit. This is the team that makes up the Internal Control Committee. We have accountant Héctor Rubio, Liliana Medina, Jorge Tapia, Jorge Gallegos, Alberto Cravera, and myself, Reynaldo Nava. Before that, I'm going to give the floor to Liliana Medina. The last slide is my farewell. Go ahead, please, Lily. Hello, good afternoon to all of you. It is my pleasure to see you again in spite of distance. Technology gathers us, making this team to be possible thanks to the yearly meeting. Getting back to the contents, we have the backgrounds of the manual, structure, knowing the user of our services, auditing, planning, risk assessment, internal control, questionnaires, internal control guides, recommendations, and IMSS, which is Social Security Institute, control questionnaire. And I'm going to show you all the work carried out by Internal Control Committee, which I am part of, and I'm going to show you their structure and how the files are laid down. The structure of financial statements. It's going to be the asset, liability, and capital, and recommendations. Examples. I don't know if you can see my screen. No, they are still seeing my presentation. So then I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to share it again. Just give me a second, please. Now you can see the folder where I have cash, accounts receivable, inventories. Okay, so now I'm going to show the internal control questionnaire, cash flow, and equivalent to cash. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, sounds good. Well, we're going to start with the internal control questionnaire, and as Reynaldo mentioned, here we have all the items that are part of the cash and cash equivalent accounts. cash responsibility in a single person, and we need to answer yes, no, observations. These endorsements are duly backed, and they need to comply with these standards and regulations. We needed to put all the regulations, Article 28 and 29 of the Fiscal Code, NIC 7 Part B. We have updated this year after year. Now I'm going to show you recommendations. There's another file for recommendations, and this is the link for them. If I click on them to this hyperlink, it will take me to the recommendations. And there you can see general controls for these cash and banks, recommendation number. Here we have the petty cash, controls, records, voucher cancellation, fixed fund increase, and here you can see again the detailed recommendation. In the same way, I can get back to the base questionnaire. If there's any question, we need to turn to recommendations and comply to do all the internal control questionnaire. Now, I would like to share with you what we were talking about yesterday about related parties, internal control questionnaire. There we have here transference or transfer prices. Can you see the change? Yes, we can see transfer prices. Yesterday we were analyzing with the team related parts, and I am sharing with you this initial questionnaire to assess related parties. The question is, what's the purpose of the business? Any organizational chart of the group? Deductions with related parties, both revenue and deductions, operation type, amount, and also shareholders' participation as a group, operations with related party abroad or national. What are the revenues, and a brief description of the amounts, and also deduction with related parties. And if there are related parties deductions, if they have identical operations or similar transactions with parties. Contract forms and terms of related parties, also a brief description, and then we will get all the documents that back up this operation. Business strategies with related parties. Are there any policies of prices among related parties? Does the company have associated intangibles with other parties? Costing system for operations with related parties. Is there any previously established policy for pricing? Any risk or market risk surveys carried out by the foreign related party? Do they have any price anticipated agreement? The APAs, have they complied with their obligations? The yearly information return, DIMM or DIAPR, to obtain in due case the copies and the return. In the yearly return, related operations with related parties, now they have to be divided with the operations in related parties in the CIPRED, and we should also obtain the copy of the corresponding financial statements on the exercise that we need to make with transfer prices and which are the main competitors. And this is a short list that I need to share to assess all related parties of a company. And now, on the liability, how am I doing with my time? Okay, let's go. That's okay, let's go then. I also have related parties, and this is basically, that's the liability, internal control, related parties, according to NIF 13 and NIC 24. This is a short description for tax authorities in Mexico. Activity, main activity of taxpayers, legal background, if it is distribution, manufacturing, or maquila manufacturing, other services, if the taxpayer owns assets for the main activity, if they use intangible assets recorded in accounting, complying with NIC 38, intangible assets used by the taxpayer if they have any royalties, intangible assets of temporary use, and so on. This is a long questionnaire. If there's any official document by authorities, if there was any favorable analysis by the ISR, and also it is important that the SART will always ask if there's any evidence to fraction number 2 of Article 76 transfer prices, and if their information tax return was presented abroad, complying with fraction 11, Article 76. Also, the date of the tax return and evidences of compliance with fraction 9, Article 76, which is the tax related to income tax in national territory. So these are questions that we are going to share with you. The whole manual, it's going to be uploaded to our intranet next week, and they can share to internal control of what we have been sharing with you. There are a lot of questions. I'm not going to be able to read all of them. So that would be it on my part. Well, thank you very much, Lily. We hope that this was clear and satisfactory for you. Thank you very much. Accountant Liliana, there is a question in the chat. It reads, Vicente Torres, Ecuador. I understand this applies properly for Mexico, because I see only Mexican articles. Probably it was the part that you were reading for the income tax. No, basically we have the general law, which is transfer prices issued by the OECD. Mexico was one of the first countries that complied with the OECD guidelines. Most countries observe transfer prices of the OECD. They are the same guidelines. Obviously, I included this list of the Mexican regulations, but they are in general the same guidelines. That's what the OECD requests. Transfer prices. Any other question? Any other comment? We have time, don't worry. We had mentioned with Mauricio to propose that this was carried out at international level, including all countries, as we did in Mexico, but with their regulations, their laws. Was it clear? Yes. Customize it for each country. That could be really good. And we need to have the participation of someone for the support of each country, coordinating all the regulations of each country, but general guidelines of transfer prices by the OECD, yes, we need to comply with them. Do we have any copyrights? Have we recorded this? No, not yet. For October, it is going to be included with copyrights. So we can do it. Mauricio maybe wants to do it, to record this on behalf of the association, because it contains a lot of things. It's really a wealth. Yes, it's going to be sent to everybody, and before that it should be recorded with copyrights. It is undergoing the process, but we need to wait for the final resolution. We're just about to finish that. A few details to complete. Thank you. Thanks. Anything else that you want to add? No, and I really thank you. It is a pleasure to see you back again in spite of distance. I am here from Merida, Yucatan. My best greetings for all of you.